Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to View with Mike G, the show of life, tequila, Mexico, daiquiris, rum, and so much more. It's been a long time coming, but I finally get the opportunity to sit down with the legendary Juan Coronado. He was touring Texas to support his new crafted brand, Mijenta Tequila, and we sipped through the Blanco and the Reposado. It's very, very good stuff, and there's some interesting aging going on there. But the thing is, Juan's been doing this thing for quite some time and has all of the stories. It's really interesting to tap his brain a bit and find out more about the man himself. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this great chat with Juan Coronado of Mijenta Tequila.
It took me a while to get adjusted to it because, to be quite honest, I'm a on-the-road person and, plan a trip, hit as many, encounters as you can book. And then you have the bars, the night, and then the mornings, the corporate job, So it's like a whole 24/7. And then all of a sudden, you are paralyzed in front of your computer.
Yes.
And you don't go meet people, and you constantly looking at your calendar. Have I missed something? That's what happened to me. But I can't wait till things are back to what we call normal. This is an industry of people, It's called hospitality and service industry. You need people moving around so it can happen.
Totally. Do you feel, this was a great word that he used, I use this too, but when I'm around people, I feel refilled with energy, right? And so when you're in these virtual realms, you don't have the opportunity to vibe off the audience. You're a DJ, like tonight you get this thing at Las Perlas. How does that interaction in person make you feel, and how does that help you?
You, as a presenter, as a representative of anything in life, you need feedback from people.
Perfect, yeah.
You need that retro. You need to question them. You need to see if you're boring, if you're interactive, if they like the products. Faces don't lie.
Yeah.
And the first tip, you immediately looking at their eyes, are they squinting? They're shaking their head as approving or something. You don't see that through a computer,
Right.
It's too virtual. It's too monochrome for what we do.
Monochrome, beautiful way to put it. And also, I feel like people aren't as participatory unless you just go at them.
You can lose me on a seminar on a computer, easily.
Exactly. So how does it feel then being back in the market here, being in Austin, which obviously is a great spot. You're going to visit good food, good drinks and stuff while you're in town. But how's it feel to be back to form, back on stage?
It's two things, I hung up my ambassadorial hat for a while, and I became the producer, the more hands-on technical on distillery, on harvesting. What is it exactly that I need? So time flew. It was quite busy for me, and gave me the opportunity to perfect what we're about to taste today. Our Mijenta, lineup. But being back is phenomenal. I just can't wait to tell people my experience last year. And fortunately for me, I had one of the greatest years in my life.
Yeah,
2020. Yeah, so
against all odds, right?
Believe me, my life just turned around in such an interesting way. My wings got cut off, got clipped. So I'm a person that I did 3 rounds around the globe a year. Easy.
Wow. Yeah,
million milers everywhere. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything to me. What means is being in contact with my crowd, my people, my mind likes.
Yes.
As they say, your tribe. We're unique. Whoever is in this hospitality and service industry is a unique individual.
Yeah.
I mean, you are not forced to be doing what you do. You could be a doctor, engineer, whatever you want. You could be in the army. For God's sake, there's cool things out there, but we chose this. or perhaps we got chose for this. I don't even know.
We got chose for it. Yeah, that's actually
True, Mike.
faithful at times.
I have tried to leave this industry 3 times in my life. I'm like, I will never own a bar. And here I am again,
Yeah.
you know.
But you just, it's funny. It's like entering the same house from different doors.
Exactly.
You're just kind of like, I'm going to come in through the back door this time. And then you come in, it's like,
yeah, let's use the back door.
yeah, but it's still that same beautiful world. And I think that's why it keeps pulling us back in, right? You can try to leave.
True.
But when you talk about agave, there's nothing more beautiful.
I don't know. I think we got chose to be here, you know.
Something's
This industry
happened.
chose us. And here we are,
Yeah.
happy as ever. You know, finally things are like, you know, starting to open up in all the states, you know, and we're stronger. That's what I tell everybody. Listen, we're going to be stronger than ever. This was a lesson for everybody, especially on the political side of our industry.
Absolutely.
How do we protect, you know, thousands and millions of families that depend on hospitality like salaries?
Yeah.
Like we're rethinking everything now. So it's important.
It's been revealed.
Perhaps it was a bad lesson to find it so hard, but it happened, and you know we're gonna be stronger for sure.
I hope so, and I think you're right. Well, so we're sipping the Mijenta, the Blanco, right? And why I start with this, and we'll talk about process here shortly. But you know, your resume is just loaded with incredibly interesting things. You know, working at Bar Anywhere for Jose Andres and working at the Bubble Room. You know, you've got these specialties in cocktails and creation and champagne and pisco and rum. I mean, let's not leave out that whole massive chapter with Bacardi, right? But when I went digging just a little bit more, I wanted to know what drove you, right? And it turns out you're a creative guy. And maybe that you kind of raise your eyebrows a little bit. So we'll see. We'll just like confirm that, right? But I think you have to be. But what I'm driving at is there's some things in terms of art that inspire us. And it's outside of the industry. For instance, I love music. That really influences me. But you studied photography early on before it seems like you found the creativity of food at the CIA. But what is your medium? What's your favorite medium to create in?
For me, it's music too. Certainly in a different way than yours because I don't play any instruments. But I need to set my day with music.
Yeah.
I need to set my opportunities, people will like come into a drawing table and okay, this is my itinerary today, this is all the things I have to do. I don't do that. I started playing music and then like, I should do this, or maybe I should go this way. I know today I had to be here and there. What am I going to prepare for today? Music like kind of like sets me up.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very personal relationship. Like I was coming on a plane today here to Texas and music set me up. I'm like pumped and you see that little glow on my face and like I'm ready, bring it on. And then like, oh my God, wait a second. I'm in Austin. I need barbecue. I need, my breakfast burritos and I want to visit everybody. But music is my coffee.
It's like a mise en place in a way, right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
So today, let's say, to get you really prepped and hyped up to travel in Austin, what were you listening to this morning?
Funny enough, not to brag about things, I made a playlist and I call it La Mezcaleria. And I was in Oaxaca last week.
Oh, nice.
I just came back this weekend and I added a couple of new tracks to that playlist and I wanted to find them again and hit on them again. So it was great. So I was like listening to some Angeles Azules. So it was that set me up. A little bit of that cumbia from Oaxaca, Mexico. That is you're like, okay, it's catchy, and you're sipping on something delicious, so it gives you that memory. So
and it's the same kick and snare pattern all over the world.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what,
the maraca, quite nice. Yeah.
When you always know what you can kind of expect tone wise, right? Like it gets you in this particular direction. So this predilection towards creativity, whether it was food, cocktails, or as a DJ with vinyl, were your folks creative? Are they creative? You come from that kind of background?
My dad is a doctor, but my mom she passed away 2 years ago, but she was super creative, super glamorous, elegant. She worked with Oscar de la Renta in the early beginnings from the Dominican Republic, and she was a beautician for a mega one for the national television there, and that was my mom's. I guess the creative juices come from her.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got obviously the business mindedness that perhaps comes from the other parts of the family. That's
Sure.
how I'm split too. Mom's the creative one, dad's the business one. But so does this story begin in New York City? I know you cut your teeth in most of the things. Were you born in New York City or
No, I
outside?
was born in the Dominican Republic,
Okay.
in Santo Domingo.
Santo
Born and
Domingo.
raised, pretty much, yeah. And um hospitality there is, everybody exercise hospitality, like smiling, saying good morning,
Right.
opening doors for people. I mean, you go to, buy ice cream, you get a couple of napkins for the other tables, and like everybody's gonna get messy. Things like that, that your folks start telling you, like, hey, you didn't open the door for that lady that was behind you, so you need to go and apologize. Or, the etiquette is a common denominator there,
It is. Well, in
and
Mexico
people's
too.
always
Yeah.
like happy to like serve, to help, to you've been there,
Yeah.
it's like I'll go the extra mile for nobody. I don't need to know them, and that's something that is, I would say, that's the carburetor of like me,
Of
it
course.
keeps me recycling and remembering. Like my mom is gonna tell me, you didn't open the door for that lady, what's wrong with you? And those are the little things. But I grew up there. I cut my teeth with cocktails there, and
Oh, can you,
my first cocktail was a daiquiri
oh,
made out of a truck, and I will never forget that. And it was my first, basically. Wow, look at these guys. One was shaking the cocktails, the other one's was squeezing limes, and the other one was like, the cashier, and it was like three guys. And look at the line. This is a business. And then when you taste that cocktail super cold in the middle of this humidity of Dominican Republic, so hot, you're like, wow, I should have gotten three,
yeah.
and that was definitely a memory for me. And from then, like, I always saw the opportunity of like doing things the most natural way as possible.
Hmm.
Like when I started bartender in New York City, nobody bought a case of limes ever.
Really?
It was lime roses. Talking
Oh,
about years
whoa.
ago.
Oh my gosh.
This is like a few decades ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But and like, where's the limes? You have this little round thing called lime roses, or this
Yeah,
lemon
yeah.
lime plastic thing. And I was like, no, I need to get some limes to this bar. And I started making daiquiris and amaretto sours with real lime.
No kidding.
And people was like, the difference, was paying off. And
Yeah.
that was the first thing.
It's incredible because in your heart you have hospitality, and there's a touch of selflessness in there. There's a touch of camaraderie. It's this because hospitality's
Yeah.
got so many different
Oh,
kind of
yes.
facets in it. My mom was a nurse for a long time, and that entails taking care of people. But that's something that really feels good to be back in person. And for you, knowing that you had this hospitality industry, it makes perfect sense, right? That naturally innate. How did you keep pushing yourself? Because it seemed like once I read kind of the end of one of the chapters when you're working with champagne, you open up a spot. And then I don't know if the Barmini came before or after that. I can't recall. I think it was after. But nonetheless, like, why do you keep pushing forward and expanding?
In true hospitality, nobody can be 100% the best at things.
Right.
And there you go. I have a few trips to Japan, and their omotenashi, aka the utmost hospitality, like bulldozer. You're like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
and being open and pushing and learning and trying to like bringing things for me has always been a hunger that, I mean, the day that you don't learn something, that day was like in vain. You might as well stay in bed and
Exactly.
rest.
Yeah.
You need to like pick up something every day. You need to acquire a skill or learn something, or become part of something that pushes you for better, for bigger. And that's my drive. I'm hungry. I'm always gonna be like, teach me something. I want to hear something that I don't know. I want to learn something. I want to pick a skill. And we work in a very broad environment that has so much to offer. And
Right.
you got cocktails, you got food, you got spirits, you got wines, and it's broad.
It's very broad.
And of course, I'm that curious cat, and I want to learn it all and be part of it all, and just to have an idea. I'm very intense. People tell me in my family that you're super Virgo. You're like so meticulous, so like,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if it's that, but there's something in me that like makes me want to like learn more about something. You teach me about I don't know, the bass, a chord or something on the bass. I want to learn the C, the B, the other ones, and I'm like, wow, okay, you know.
Does that carry over? Because the good thing, I love film, like I said, and one of the things about that is there are waves and there are movements. So much like there's a category of rum, or much like there's the category of agave, you can go and super focus. So that's kind of the way that I taxonomize stuff is film, and then I think of spirits. But are there any other areas, whether it's history or art, that also interest you in that same kind of way?
I love history. That was my favorite subject. You know, like growing up in school, history and chemistry were like like challenging, good. You know, like wow, look at this, what this person did. Look what this village did, and they became this. Look at it, quite interesting. Like the storytelling and the curious mind of like, why does it taste so good? What's in it? It makes me very curious. Right. It awakens my curiosity.
Do you get down into the details of things? For instance, when I drink a cocktail that I don't know what's in it, immediately I dissect it in my head and say, what is this made of? And then after that, I say, those spirits, cool, where'd they come from? And so on and so forth. Do that same kind of thing?
You suffer from the same syndrome that I suffer.
I do, yeah.
Like, if you put me, like I'm already like staring at the bottles here that you have. I already made 3 cocktails. Yeah. But that it reminds me of, you remember that movie, The Pie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Aronofsky?
You can't stop your brain. Like, you know, you're like, okay. And then the bitters, the peach bitters will go very well with that bourbon that he has over there. You know, I'm like already doing math, and it's a thing.
So, okay. We do share that. And something I've had to be pretty conscious of when I'm talking to people outside of the industry. You and I share this beautiful, I won't say wealth for me, but let's just say broad collection of data that we have in our head, right? And we get really detailed, and we could talk intelligently, articulately about probably a lot of things. Not always the right audience that's in front of us, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you shift gears to talking to someone that has no passion at all for the category? Do you have to shift gears like that?
I do not have to shift gears. I don't know if like you think we do, but for me, like all my friends are not in my industry. They call me, hey Juan. They call me different names, Juani, Juanillo, Mr. Coronado, whatever. I need a cocktail for this weekend, but it has to be easy but I want to surprise everybody. I'm like, of course. What you got on your cabinet? Tell me. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, and they love it, and they send me pictures, and like, okay, you know, you came out amazing, went well with this. Or sometimes I ask them, are you cooking too? All right, what are you cooking? You know, it's winter, it's summer. Who are you drinking with? You know,
So I learned there's this, I took this, not a personality test, it was like a skills test the other day. And there's this particular, and I'll get you the name of it after we're done. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there's this one personality type. Obviously, we're built with multiple facets of personality, right? But it had particularly to do with language and the words in which you use and the vocabulary. And for me, that, whether I knew it or not, was vital to the way that I think about communicating. Do you think about vocabulary a lot too? Because that might be the shift, right? That I'm having to change.
I don't think I do, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think you have to be aware definitely of your audience or who you're talking to, because you leave in the message very clear for them and you're speaking the same lingo is key to this.
Yeah.
You know, it's key. If you don't happen to get that connection with your audience, with the person, with, delivering the message in certain way for certain individuals, for your crowd is important. And that's communication 101.
Sure.
Who, this is how, you know?
Yeah. And the messaging itself. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I will assume that you guys, for example, you in your case, know a lot about spirits. I don't need to tell you about, the coffee column still and all these plates and all these things. But, there's a certain degree that I understand that you're industry minded like me. I relax the technical part unless an event happened that something amazing happened. By the way, we took this column and we turned it into a pot still because we added 30 plates of copper in there. Something like that. But but we don't need to like to use the geeky language. Sometimes when you speak to the press, you have to like make sure they understand that you're the
Yeah.
pro at this thing and kind of like that,
But just like you know what, you're right. Just know a tinge that I know what I'm talking about. I suppose that's even bad for me to say that because it's just ego driven for me in that respect. But you want them to know.
Aw.
You don't think so?
It's just like like I don't even know what I was about to say, like other things that basically no, but I don't think it's ego. It's just business card. You handling your verbal business card basically.
Oh, that's perfect.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you kind of calibrate them a little bit, and then
Exactly.
you can kind of step off, and they realize potentially they can engage with you in that kind of technical way. If they
Exactly.
needed to.
You know where they're at. Exactly.
Yeah.
When you get the feedback from them,
I went to a company I work at, but we have something we say that meet the customer where they're at. And we know that there have been a lot of emerging technologies, whether it's TikTok, which is difficult because there's no age gating, and I know a lot of brands aren't getting in there. But in terms of that visual, aesthetic presence of you as a brand, and then by extension now Mijenta, has that been difficult to navigate at all? Or is it something you find, it's like, I found my space, I'm going to flourish, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, for instance?
it took me. I was not the most avid social media person, but I find it as an attractive tool
Mm-hmm.
because I was away last year, pretty much, and I had to stay in touch. But there's a new way of staying in touch, and there's other channels and other things. And I was not that person. Like, you want to talk to me, call me or send me an email.
Yeah.
A text will do too. But the messages, the instant messages, I even like more aware now of my LinkedIn, which I open it like every now and then. But
Right.
now I am like, whoa, look at this. Great. A mover, a shaker, this, that. It's information at the end of the day, but the social media caught me by surprise. I'm getting better at
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You seem the way that you craft your response. People work with many big brands on interviews and stuff, and they're like, "Can you pre-vet the questions and stuff?" Like, yeah, fine. Obviously, I change it up because I'm not trying to be controversial. I just like things flow. It's like a jazz
Yeah.
duo, But I can tell that you're media ready.
Of
You know
course.
what I mean? Like, you've been doing this a long time. You understand how to say exactly what needs to be said without saying anything more than that. But that's just cerebral and intellectually.
Yeah,
Visually, though, I'm sure you can do the same thing, but taking pictures, is it as easy?
when it comes to like the part of media training, I was blessed. I got the most intense and rigorous media training ever. It was one of the hardest things I've been through in my life, and it was amazing. And I'm very thankful. It was on my very beginning at Bacardi, and with my mentor William Ramos and me, David Seed, and Aaron Rodonis from here from Texas too. They almost made us cry. The communication team, over and over and over, but it gave me the skills, the security that I'm here to speak about these three things.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask any questions, but I'm still gonna answer these three things. That's what I'm here to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's very important. It gives you that security, and you're here for a message. People might see you the way you get physically or emotionally. You can get altered. You can mellow down. You can be boring, but it's your eyes, the way you move your head,
Right.
and the words that you're saying. I'm here for those three things, and I'm not gonna lose my cool because you're asking something else over and over and over. You wanna
Yeah.
get something dirty out of me or something? No, it's these three things that I'm here for. But I'm very thankful. Bacardi, those days were amazing, and I owe that to them. Yeah.
Something that one of my mates told me the other day is he said, I wish every ambassador had the one quality that you have, Mike. And I'm like, okay, what's that? And he goes, you actually listen. And when I'm looking at somebody, I'm not waiting to respond. I'm just listening to you. But I tell you this is what you put out, because there's a line sometimes with who we are personally and then who we are publicly. And there should be to some extent. Has that ever been a hard line to not share too much? Because to your point, you've got those three KPIs that you're trying to.
I mean, that was just an example.
No, yeah.
For me, no, like I am the person that my mother and my father raised, and that's me professionally. That's me. You know, I don't have a Jekyll and Hyde or another line to cross. This is me, and everybody that knows me professionally and personally know that. And you know, for me, doing my job doesn't feel like I'm working.
Got it.
It's so easy because I'm just be me.
Yeah.
You know,
which is I think everybody's dream job, right?
Yeah, I mean, Confucius say, "Find a job you love, and you will never work a day in your life."
Yeah.
You know, Oscar Wilde used to say, which is my favorite, "A grapefruit is nothing but a lemon that had an opportunity and took advantage of it." I'm taking advantage of my my mellowness, my good guy situation.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar Wilde, I need to cite him more. Was he the one that said life imitates art?
I think he was.
it's him,
That's
right?
one of his quotes. Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is a strange question,
yeah.
but not a challenging one necessarily. But as I get older, things seem to line up more coincidentally than ever. Do you notice this?
There's some quotes out there that are like they just fall at the right moment at the right place in your life. You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
nobody told me this before, and I just like reading, and you like take a picture with your phone. You're like, no, repeating it like, and you're like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to say or to be or to do.
Yeah, connects with you just like those songs in the morning, right?
Exactly. You know, sometimes things happen for a reason. When things land on your plate, it's because you have some cooking to do. You know.
Yeah.
And it's about learning and taking every day. There's something. It could be something related to your career, not to, but you can take the learnings from whatever field and apply to what you love.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
I think that's incredible. All right, so we're going to talk about tequila. I got one more question before we start diving
Great.
into, and I've been talking about Guerrero a lot lately, so I look forward to talking to you about that. It's a really, really interesting thing to kind of bring more people, the Mijenta project. I think it actually helps bring people into the geography of Mexico too, which is very, very, very important.
Diverse and big,
the southern oceans and stuff, or southern coast. But what was the decision to leave Bacardi? It was such a long chapter of your life, and potentially some of your partners in this project are ex-Bacardi, but we don't know that necessarily. None of it's actually fully disclosed, but I'm digging around. But there has to be that moment, right, where either you're furloughed or you say, I really need to do the next thing for myself.
It was, I got to start, with some history.
Sure.
My first time that I went to Mexico was on 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove 3 times from New York City to Oaxaca.
Oh, wow.
3 years in a row.
Yeah.
2 drivers. We were doing a car race called La Carrera Panamericana, the Pan American race and the Pan American highway. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the food, with the culture, me speaking Spanish as a first language was more natural than anybody in the team and everything, like to get habituated fast.
Mm-hmm.
Food, weather, and I fell in love like completely. At one point, I remember meeting some by mistake. I didn't call it palenqueros at the time or mezcaleros. Somebody that make mezcal. They offered me, "You want some mezcal? We make this here." I'm like, what is mezcal? And then, oh wait, that's the one with the worm. Well, where's the worm? You don't put worms? And like I tried, I was like, wow, it's a little more pleasant than the one with the worm.
Yeah.
And I know like saying that it's bad or good, but it opened up my knowledge to things, and then they were not just drinking it, they were eating good food with it. And eating and drinking is like the true bon vivant exercise. That's how you like exercise that muscle in your heart of bon vivant. And sharing the knowledge of these experiences is the coolest thing. And it was just a moment that I had no place to go. It was going to be stuck over the night there because we broke down until the next day. A mechanic came in and fixed us and off we go. But it was that imposed moment in life that totally like, hey, you're not in a rush anymore. You're in a race, but you're not racing. Right now, you're here. Yeah. Sit down. You want to try this? Cool. You want to eat? Yes. Somebody pull a guitar and there we go, man. Like everything came into place. So that was my first like experience of like loving Mexico. The whole trip was amazing. I kept on coming, and I always had it within me, like, wow, tequila, my respect for tequila. I know there's so many brands and there's so many different ways of doing this, but there's an organization that is controlling the processes of this. Why not all tequila taste the same? That was a big question.
Mm.
And then from there, you start taking the petals of the flower. You love me tequila, you love me not tequila.
Yeah, yeah.
And here we are today. It was like something that was meant to be.
And
It was in my heart.
well, I had the same moment too. I think when you love spirits, you go there and you see them being made and you sip them in that intimate setting where time stops. And it's so romantic,
Yeah.
you know?
It's something that you take with your heart, like it touches you, like, and you're like, wow, I will always remember this moment for the rest of my life.
All right. Because it's
And
pure
you go
humanity.
along with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, you start questioning, why not all of it taste like this? What are they doing different? Or maybe this plant is a little bigger than the one that I saw last time.
Right, yeah.
The soil looks different. Here is red, here is a little yellowish. What's going on here? And that, like, the questioning is key. It's like that when you start a puzzle, you throw all the pieces on your table.
Right.
And you start looking for symmetry, like, oh, these are some borders. And you start there. So how's the thought of process that worked out for me? Until like I finally finished my puzzle, creating the profile for Mijenta Tequila.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
You were considered the expert for tequila for the New York Post.
Post. Yeah.
How long ago did that start? Given
That
that
was years ago. Let's see. That was late 90s. Yeah.
So-
Early 2000s, late 90s.
so that
yeah.
trip truly impacted what you were known for. And
Oh, yeah. I
what
put
you
my
knew.
fangs on it and I was like, drinking the blood of the knowledge of tequila. And I'm already being a sommelier for many years and, work on the processes of, champagne and open a champagne bar. And I was already, getting my curious feet around. And for tequila, it was super easy and natural. For rum, the same thing. It's the way you approach it, the methodical way that you approach the processes and the knowledge of things.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's a paradigm. It's how you learn. I'm going to say this before we talk about how the project started. We're going to sip this Reposado, but I am so pleased that you have a maestra tequilera. Ana Maria Romero. See?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Maria Romero Mena.
Mena. And I don't know her work, and this is kind of my first ability and I feel very bad that I, at least to my knowledge, never had a tequila made by a female, which is really, really upsetting because I've had mezcal, by maestras. So tell me how you guys met.
Well, Ana Maria is, in my opinion, the Grand Am of the world of tequila.
Yeah.
Besides being an amazing lady, she comes also from the wine world,
Okay.
sort of like me. And but she's definitely that person that is shaping up the high end and the elegant side of tequila for everybody. She's doing amazing things and she's setting up, the standards of like what is an amazing artisanal tequila should be.
Yeah.
In the world of tequila, there's a lot of complexity. Agaves or magueys, they will have close to 200 anoleptics compounds,
Right.
at all. Very complex, more complex than cognac,
Absolutely.
than rum, than gin, than everything. So going from that floor, that status of like complexity, Ana Maria was the first person who wrote a book about the compounds that you get to find and the aromas that define tequila.
Wow.
Very complex, methodical. She went to all the distilleries on the denomination and did work with everybody. And she has worked on many profiles of tequilas before. And for me, it was very organic because I was going to do my tequila Mijenta with another maestro, but he retired and he decided to, like, family goes first. I don't want to get involved in some projects, at least not up until like few years that my retirement like skills have like implemented and I'm bored at home or something like that.
Got it.
And I respect that. Then through some friends, I was able to contact Ana Maria, and somebody told me you need to talk to her at least. And our conversation, I remember the conversation that we had. I was in Atlanta Georgia airport, and we had a like 45-minute call. I was catching a plane, and I was like, wow, it was like we fell in love in the phone. Basically, it was amazing.
That's great.
So with Ana Maria, I told her I wanted to create a profile that is culinary.
Cooling, okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
when I mean culinary, I want to be able to like allow my tequila to change the process of my meal. My conversations are gonna change with my friends. The conviviality of things, it's gonna get more complicated. We start with fresh little things, so we need notes of like green and fresh. Then we start with like salties and sours. Why not get some of that? And then the main course arrive. We need bold, rich, you know.
Sure.
Then second course, we need to like make it different. Let's bring in some amazing herbs and flowers, and then we continue with dessert, and then some sweet notes of cooked agave are gonna appear. So we went on taking notes, and she was like, "Wow!" She said like this, "Your project sounds very padre," and I was like, "Wow, really? Let's do this!" And that was it. It took us quite some time, but we did it.
How long was the process from knowing that you knew what you wanted it to be, and then sourcing juice and getting it in a bottle? What would that look like?
With the experience that I'm bringing in on distillation and blending on hers, it wasn't that difficult.
Sure.
This was like perhaps the most easiest because we were both on the same level, same floor. We like
Talking the
this.
same way.
Yes, there's no other. No, it is this or nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the way we selected our maguey was like crucial. I wanted to do something with a lot of Quixote maguey and
Okay.
to bring in that rich maturity, some of that hydrolysis that some old agaves have that bring in with the new that
Yeah,
is amazing. So we set on 5 up to 7-year-old magueys to bring in that amazing rich Mijenta tone, that earthiness, that viscosity, that rich body that we have on the Mijenta. It comes from that expression of the maguey on the terroir that I fill in.
Yeah. And this is Highland agave, or is it
Highlands,
it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, very rich red soil.
Sure.
Like so red that I always wear Converse when I'm out there. Every time that I leave Arandas, my Converse are pink. And,
Yeah.
it looks like I have pink Converse,
That's
but no,
right,
they're
yeah.
like just dusty. Hence the color of the label of the Blanco and the color of the box as well.
I see.
It's not pink. It's just dusted with red, with the red rich soil of Arandas that is rich in iron content, in quartz. It has gravitina. It has so many like limestone. It has so many elements there that is rich. But think about these agaves as something special because, as everybody knows, the agaves on the highlands, they're always striving hard to get nutrients. It takes them a long time to grow.
Right. Yeah.
The lowlands, they grow very fast
Struggle.
and they grow tall. They grow sideways. In Los Altos, mostly you're going to see tall agaves, like trying to reach to the sky. That's why they say blue Weber agave as best is almost as blue as the sky, trying to connect with the sky,
I actually had never thought about that, because you're absolutely right though. Once that's the same with grapes. The better the struggle, the better the flavor.
True,
Right? Yeah.
exactly. The stress that these plants go through it makes them not easy to kill.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all the natural defenses that they have, like calcium oxalate and all of that. But what I want to ask you, because the Reposado, what I really enjoy about this is I get a lot of salt, and I love the
Minerality,
salinity.
yes,
absolutely.
yes.
That sodium, the potassium, and what other kind of metals are in the soil there. But I would love to hear what you would pair with this culinarily, given this
Blanco
is
Reposado.
the Reposado.
Well, with the Reposado, definitely you have a hint of wood.
Sure.
It's been impacted.
And
by wood.
this is American or French?
There is more than that.
No kidding.
Yes, kidding. Yeah.
Oh, right.
True, yeah.
Well, so you must have had some background with that, with all the rum days and all the.
Of course. And we're not trying to make a perfume. We're trying to take the gift that Mother Earth gave us, turn it into art. And that's on Ana Maria's hands.
I see.
And big kudos to her, But in blending and aging, you need to be very patient, but very vigilant.
Yes, sure.
You don't want a barrel to ruin your mezcal because it comes from, or your tequila because it comes from a different industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't want my tequila to taste like whiskey or bourbon. Like totally opposed. So being very vigilant was like doing studies on the barrels every 10 days, every 15 days, which is a little bit of excessive, because you might, on a reposado, you taste twice, perhaps 3 months and then 6 months. But we were
you
on
wanted
it.
to do it that, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to get that overheat of American white oak and French oak into it. No, it was about the tequila showing us another like face, not turning the tequila into something. We had nothing to correct on our blanco.
Got it.
Our blanco,
Yeah, you're right. It just
it's
is
straight out delicious.
Yeah.
Why mask it with other tones? So we're very careful on that.
That's great.
So on that reposado, you still have the minerality
Yep.
of the blanco. You still have some of the green uncooked agave notes that you find in the blanco. You get a little hint of the floral, the gardenia that is very predominant in the blanco. And at the same time, you get that kind of like cucumber, cantaloupe flavor.
Very cooling, vegetal, slightly fruity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If you kill that for me in a tequila, that's like, you went too heavy on something here.
Yeah, and it's not lactic. That's one
No.
thing that's something that I don't necessarily like it in mezcal, but don't like it in tequila. So it's incredibly angular. Does that make sense?
That's a good word, yeah.
The way that
yeah.
I've tasted, it's angular.
Yeah, it is. But if you taste both side to side, you see that one is the development of the other one, you know. But we're not trying to like lose some of the elements of the other ones. And to be honest with you, people perceive that right away on the first sip. We've been lucky enough that we were awarded 99 points by Tasting Panel. We just launched. We're not even a year old.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something amazing. And I believe we achieved it. We did it. Right now, currently, I'm working on an añejo, and I'm telling Roddy, that's going to be ready when it's ready. I don't know when it's ready. Like, I tasted it not so long ago, and I was like, we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be August. No, it's not going to be August. I started putting things in barrel in August, and like, it's going to be maybe December. Who knows?
I see.
It's when it's ready. We're learning the tequila, the barrels, and Maria and I were learning how to dance.
Yeah.
And
that's a new skill set, It's stuff that it borrows from all of your history, but at this time, well, now you got to go and do it. That's the best part.
Yes.
But so tell me again, protein-wise, meal-wise, what do you think would go good with this?
To your point, like I will definitely go with the blanco with any unpasteurized cheese.
Beautiful.
To start with.
Soft cheese. Ultimately.
Any unpasteurized cheese.
Oh, no.
From stinky to like, I will go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, some rich like Parmesan or Pecorinos, like aged. I will go on that. Will be like, nice. You will create a very nice epiphany, creating like notes that are like dormant or sleeping on the cheese.
They'll pull each other.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Then I will go definitely with some. I will go with like maybe a rich Yucatan style ceviche.
For
a
the
ceviche
blanco or the repo?
with the repo.
Okay.
A ceviche, a cocktail de camarones or ceviche that has that rich tomato sauce.
Oh, tomatoes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On fish wise, I will go with like a smoky seared trout, lamb, pork. I do not eat chicken, unfortunately, but I'm sure it will be delicious with chicken because people love chicken.
But you're on the, I think I'm right there with, I think like actually like a nice heavy, not seared, but just charred halibut. One of those meatier fishes, a little more oily, because now you got me thinking about lunch and stuff, which is always a good thing because you guys get to do barbecue next.
Hey, we're in Austin. We might as well. We'll put it to the test, definitely.
Because actually, I think with maybe some of the meats, it would be quite good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got metallics, you got fruits, you got, minerals, you got all these elements that definitely, I hate when like people try to like, let's say dessert, you need a sweet wine with it. No, you don't need a sweet wine. You already have the sweet there. Pull from another angle.
Yeah.
So that's why the complexity of the reposado will help with all of that. Last but not least, I in Mexico City, I was with a couple of friends and a bottle of Mijenta Reposado when I finally launched it. I was like, let's try it together. And all the restaurants were like closed or it was late. We went to a nice taqueria. Those tacos al pastor with the pineapple.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mike, that was amazing. Like eating standing
Mm-hmm.
with a little glass of Mijenta Reposado and as simple as a taco al pastor, which is a king complex. You have the cilantro on top, the pineapple.
Uh-huh.
You got the pork there. So
Oof.
your
Yeah, it sounds
sauces.
beautiful. That light, bright kind of tropical acidity with this cutting through with that's incredible. I mean, again, it's just making me hungry. One.
Another
Thanks for
thing
that.
that the Mijenta Reposado has in particular that I was able to learn it from somebody in Puerto Rico that I admire a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's Indulge Chocolate. It's a company in Puerto Rico owned by this amazing lady. Her name is Janet. And she was able to pull in the lingo of cacao
Oh wow.
into the tequila. And like we do projects now. She built chocolates that will match the profile.
That's
Not
incredible.
pair,
Yeah.
match.
Yeah.
Like it's quite amazing.
When I loved it because the great thing about tequila or mezcal or any agave more because of the
Yes.
organoleptic, all the qualities, right, is that it emulates a meal more than any other spirit. It doesn't emulate an ingredient; it emulates a meal. You know what I'm saying?
True,
And that's why it's so interesting because it goes in so many different directions that are almost always related to food. And it is just a massive food. So, are you able to I don't care where the barrels are from, but type wise, can you tell me what kind of barrels you're using, or is that proprietary?
If you want to geek out about it, no problem. Of course, we got nothing to hide, but I'm using American White Oak.
Yeah.
I'm using also French Oak,
Cool.
and I'm using Casilla Bark Oak.
That's the one I
so
was curious about. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
really interesting because I'm not super.
For the añejo, I'm
familiar.
doing something else.
Cool.
So it's the cool thing about this is like Ana Maria and I were having so much fun at creating this profile that is unique, and hopefully people get to perceive and understand the beauty of it. It's not a mandate. It's like we're exploring flavors, we're exploring aromas, but we want to pull out and exhibit the terroir of Arandas. That's the purpose. When you drive down on Arandas and you have your windows down, you smell so many things. In the town of Arandas, there's a candy store that they make candies too. All these things is Arandas, it's rich. So that's the idea behind it. Of course, we always have an eye on sustainability. Our bottles are from 100% recyclable glass. I don't use a cork, neither a synthetic. As a stopper, it's glass on glass.
Yeah.
Zero contamination.
One, it's a really beautiful cap, actually. I was gonna
Thank
tell
you. And every time you open it in a bar, it makes a clink clink sound. And
Yeah.
hey, you're making a cocktail with Mijenta. That's nice. Our labels and packaging material is recyclable paper and reuse bagasse of the agave turned into paper. Our labels are made out of that. So.
Which is, I think these are all very important things as people kind of talk about sustainability. But something I found particularly interesting, which I was reading, actually, my friend Claudia wrote the story in Forbes that was talking about this. But I am getting more and more familiar with the geography of Mexico and Guerrero specifically. And I'm telling you what, this next couple of years in terms of destilados and stuff, it's going to burst wide open. And some of the stuff coming out there is just incredible. But there is somehow an ecological problem with whales in Guerrero. Could you tell me kind of about this situation that you guys are...
I think we need to instead
Zoom
of do
out?
micro, zoom out. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Mexico, it's a magnet. It brought in generations of aborigines south from our lands south there, because there was a place called La Gran Tenochtitlan that it was, according to the legend, that was the perfect place for a civilization to endure. And they settled where they saw an eagle and a snake fighting, and that was the place, and that place exists. And then you have places like Guerrero, Colima. Colima is the birthplace of distillation in South. And
This is a
Colima,
good conversation, but you're right. But not of alcohol. Anyway.
but it's not part of the DO,
Yeah,
of non-DO.
right,
which is,
yeah.
it's Mexico. So it shows you the other side of Mexico. Guerrero is an amazing place, unique. I mean, the geographical location is fantastic. Unfortunately, not many people can have access to Guerrero right now.
Right.
I love perhaps one of the best coffees I had. It was from Guerrero, and I know an agronomist in Mexico, and he's dying to get it back or to see if the plants are still there or not, if they cut them or whatever. But Guerrero has that magic, that magnetism to everything that grows in Guerrero is amazing. You have places like Yucatan and the Peninsula, which reflects the Caribbean. You have Quintana Roo that we all love with all those cenotes and magic and beauty that is so natural. You have places like Sinaloa where rice grows amazingly too, and one of the best sakes ever is being produced there right now in Mexico. Veracruz, I mean,
Yeah, oh, dude.
Puebla,
Puebla.
I mean, wow.
San Luis Potosí, which is different, but
Exactly.
still beautiful. You know, very rich. There is no singular Mexican community because the country is far too rich for that.
The mines of gold and silver in Querétaro, in all around there. When you go to Guanajuato, it's something else. Zacatecas,
Yeah.
So many beautiful states,
Yeah,
So-
with so much diversity. So Guerrero is a beautiful place, beautiful raw materials, and something that lured you to this place about the sea life and how that would be, because you're talking about sustainability here
Yes.
in the product itself. But then this kind of expanded far beyond that.
Yeah, we're always looking for ways of tapping into organizations or causes that are like meaningful to us. Of course, always having as a last name Mexico for us is important. It's an attractive. We always try to give back to the land what the land gave us, and
Right.
that's important of us. We are in the process of creating different ways of like try to study beyond what has been done, like bring in the scientists of agriculture to study maguey and see how we can protect the plant. And we're looking into things like that. We don't have the paved road to do it right away, but
Right.
we're very curious about this. The genetical DNA strength of the maguey. How can we work in pos of like achieving that? Is it with bats? Is it with soil? What is it? But something needs to be done. God forbid, like Philosopher for maguey's
agave,
attacks,
yeah.
we're not gonna have tequila anymore, and nothing has been done. So we're curious too. We want to help. We want to do something. In the case of Guerrero, tying it on with Guerrero Wales, it was a very humble thing for us that we're trying to create the lowest footprint ever in tequila production. And whales are the cleaners of our planet. They wipe out so many tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere.
I didn't know that.
It's intense. So yeah, we have to work with them. We have to help them. We have to preserve them. We have to find a way to like create an equilibrium between them, because right now they are like the biggest sponges of CO2. They are like helping us with that. So that was the intention behind it.
Got you. Yeah, I really had no idea that was the case.
It's more than trees, more than whales. Yeah.
wow.
It's a funny way that they do it, but I don't need to explain that here. But
Yeah, well, I'm gonna look it up now.
yeah, but
I suggest
please,
folks kind of
please.
research
There
that.
is a great documentary that I will recommend. It's called Seaspiracy. I think it's called Seaspiracy, like conspiracy, something like that. I think it is. Yeah, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but
No, I think
it is.
that's right.
It is quite nice.
Okay, I'll have
Yes,
to check
please.
it out because all of this stuff's connected. The sea is connected to the earth, connected to the sky, is connected to this tequila in our glass. I mean, if you look at it disconnected and you look at it as like, well, I'm not affecting the sea. It's like, well, you are. We all
Listen,
are.
even the way you buy a can of tuna fish, you're affecting everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Precisely.
I mean, we've done a lot of harm already, so we need to be conscious about how to maintain an equilibrium.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think that I'm very proud to see lots of folks focusing on that these days, So I got two questions left for you.
Yes.
This one is about you and your love of history. And so I ask everybody this question, but let's say you're sipping the Mijenta Blanco anywhere in the world, doesn't matter where. But you could have a conversation with any historical leader, alive or dead. Who might you like to have a tequila with?
Somebody asked me this a while ago.
And it always changes, I feel,
I don't think like it changes much, but I answered the question with another question. Can I have three?
If you have three on your mind, absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to like sip with three people. I would like to sip with Gandhi. I don't know if he's gonna drink or not, but I would love to have a conversation. I would love to sip Mijenta. Another person will be Muhammad Ali.
Oh yeah, he
I don't know if he will drink or not, but
I'm sure
it will be him. And then last but not least, it will be basically a musician.
uh-huh.
And
Do you know which one?
yeah, I do know. But I don't know if like you can take a hint of who it is. Think about where I'm coming from.
Well, I don't. My lens is so wide.
Well, maybe you don't know the artist, but I happen to live on that street in the Dominican Republic. It was a composer that his name is Luis Alberti. Was Luis Alberti, and I live on that street for many years growing up. And for me, the curiosity of like living on that street, not knowing who this person was, and then finding out later on in life, like he was a big composer, musician during the tyranny of the Trujillos, but like seemed to be like somebody that shaped the future for music. He went against the dictatorship and convinced them that music is so important, that we have great musicians nowadays. He's responsible, like pretty much, basically paving the future for other musicians. And
and
sometimes
change.
somebody has to take the heat, and
Yeah.
for others to fulfill their dreams.
I've got a short list of things I need to look up, which I always appreciate. Always learning, like you said, every day. If you don't learn something new or you don't ask a question to learn something new, it's a waste of the day, I think. All right, so last question for you. The first Mezcal collective back in Austin. We've been without these for almost a year and a quarter. You're back. You're going to be talking about Mijenta. Is this the start of a Texas tour? Are you doing things in Dallas as well, or you just want Austin as a one-off?
This is actually my second visit to Texas within like 2 months.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So Texas is the market for tequila, and everybody knows that. And for mezcal, it will be soon too, or it is already.
Yeah.
I don't have that information, but if it's not, it is already.
I think it is. California keeps arguing with me, but Texas is where
it's Texas, right? So Texas always been an important market for Latin goods. I will say it. Rum, tequila, mezcal, tejuino, cacao, everything, and having that organic connection with Mexico, it's natural that this is the key market for my brand, and it is the main market right now. So I'll be coming here all the time, and I'm a baseball guy, and of course want to see the Rangers playing soon. So
you're gonna
get some barbecue. I want so Texas, get used to this place again.
Well, I'll get used to it.
My first business trip after COVID was Texas.
Oh, good.
Here I am again today. So
it's faithful.
Doing a little tour.
Yeah, this is the first interview I've had at the house in over a year and a half. So
thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine. Juan, I hope you enjoy the rest of your travels in Texas, man. I'll see you soon. Especially if you're coming back, you're going to run into me.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you, man, again. Likewise. Good to see you. Thank you for the opportunity, and salute to everybody. Okay, cheers.
Thanks
so much. All right.
Cheers.
Thanks.
So there we have it. Juan Coronado talking about his new tequila Mijenta. And it's really nice to know that he's working with a female distiller. I mean, there needs to be more of this in tequila. There needs to be more of this pretty much everywhere. And there's a huge culinary angle to the whole thing. I really appreciate that as well. We took about an hour, but I'm sure we could have taken many, many more. And it was, as I mentioned in the interview, the first time I got to sit down with someone at the house, both vaccinated here, sipping some tequila and talking about life. That is, to me, the most rewarding part of life these days. Now, we were without personal communication, sitting in a room with each other, and now we get it back. And I'm very, very privileged, and I'm very, very grateful for it being back. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V. No matter how many episodes of Startup you've binged on Netflix, if you're thinking I'm actually going to put out another record sooner than later, please keep dancing.